is. Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest stars on the wildly successful new NBC series, Manifest. Prior to that, the world, as well as his would-be wife, fell in love with him as David Nolan, a.k.a. Prince Charming, on Once Upon a Time. I'll hold for applause. I know you want to applaud for that. Go ahead. Yeah. I'll wait. You're right to be excited. Bless you. But tonight, my friends, tonight marks Manifest's return after its fall break, and fans absolutely cannot wait to get back into trying to unravel the mystery of what really happened to Montego Air Flight 828. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Stone himself, the great Josh Dallas is here. How about that? Make some noise for Josh. Come on. It's so awesome. We're going to bring him out in just a moment, but first, I believe we have a peek from tonight's episode, so let's go ahead and run that clip.
Hey, where are you going?
It's Vance's memorial today.
What, you think it's a good idea to go to that?
I'll keep a low profile, and I gotta pay my respects. He died helping us.
And?
And maybe I'll get a lead. Come on, isn't it Cop 101, go to the murder victim's funeral, look for a guilty killer?
Not quite like that, and you're not a cop.
No, but I'm a dad, and I've got to protect my son. Cal channeled Marco. Cal found the detainees under that warehouse. My kid is at the center of everything happening to us. I've got to know why. It just might save his life.
Precisely. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Josh Dallas right here. Dude, congratulations. This is awesome. This show is fantastic.
Thanks.
People love this show. We love you. There's a lot to talk about. I'm very excited you're here. Thank you for being here.
Already.
Yeah.
This is nice. Thanks.
Yeah, well, you're trying to buddy up for the hard-hitting questions. So let's dive into it, man. No, seriously, how are you doing? How's life right now, man? You got a hit show. Holidays just came and went. How are you?
Look, life couldn't be better. Life couldn't be better. The holidays just came and went. I shoot the show here in NYC. Of course, I live in LA, so my wife and kids are back in LA. So it was nice to be back there with them, and then to come back here and start this out for the new year. Yeah, it's good. Life is good.
What's holidays like for you back on the West Coast? You guys do it up big?
It was
big
warm, a little warmer than it was here. Yeah, family all comes to us, and we all hang out and just have a good time.
How the kids, the wife, the whole thing? It's
They're
all
great. We're
yeah.
doing, I have two boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and everything. It's all potty jokes right now.
Oh, it's the best.
It's all potty. You have, yeah.
No, not yet, I have, all my friends have kids, a bunch of nieces and nephews. I know the phase that you're talking about very well.
Yeah, it's poop and pee and all that stuff all the time. Yeah.
Basically where we all started.
Yeah, my son likes to announce, he likes to announce to people that in our house there are 3 penises and 1 vagina. He likes to tell people that. Can I say that on the show?
It's the internet.
I just did.
You can say anything.
So, there we go.
I honestly grew out of that 3 weeks ago. That was when
I'm still trying to grow out. I've
hard.
regressed back. So now I just do it all the time.
That's pretty incredible, man. I was thinking about that. I do research, but I'm not a stalker, so I didn't know that you were on the West Coast for sure, but I had an inkling, and I figured it's got to be tough, because I know you're filming here over in New York, and after years of having the same job together, of working together, and now you got to be on the other coast and this whole thing. How is that transition going? How has that been? Has that been long enough now that it's getting a little bit easier to be away for that and all that? Yeah,
I don't think that's ever going to get easier. It's a hard thing, and it's part of what we do. Actors and people in this business are gypsies by nature. We're a traveling circus, and we go all kinds of different places, and it just so happens that this one takes us from one coast to the other. But yeah, it's hard. I don't think it's ever going to get easy, but I also don't want it to feel normal to the kids either, because I want them to know that, I'm not that far away. And of course, at 4 and 2-year-old, they don't really know where New York is right now, but they know it's a place that Daddy goes to work. Yeah. But yeah, it's not easy.
No, I can't imagine. Do you ever use it? They're like, all right, you need to be really sad today on set. And you're like, got it, I can find that.
Absolutely.
I can get there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Got to tap into it.
Yeah, man. You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Have you guys finished filming the season yet? You still working on it?
We still have 2 more episodes to film. We're almost done with 15, and then we have the last one, 16, the finale, coming up soon.
So I'll be sure not to get any spoilers or anything out of you.
Okay.
Obviously, you know ahead. You know, it's funny. I was reading though, especially with a show like this, I was really curious about this, and you'd mentioned you prefer, when the mystery, in this instance here, to not know any answers ahead of time. You want to get it as the scripts are coming to you. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Now I'm starting to change my mind a little bit.
Why's
Now
that?
I really want to know.
Yeah, now
I
you-
really want to know. I'm like all of us now. I really want to know what's going on. So I might just ask Jeff.
Just call him up.
Just, you got to tell me.
Just be like, hey, man.
What is it?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Well, the thing that and I talk a lot about this with whenever we get somebody from like a Marvel show or something where like secrets are inherently like a big part of it, is like, do you ever find, or are you worried about, now forget the fact that you just want to know, but like you've made decisions as an actor. Depending on where this mystery ends, do you think like, are you afraid of looking back and be like, oh, I would have done this differently, or I would have played this moment a little bit different if I knew this was where we were going to land?
Yeah, I think that's always the worry in these kind of situations, and I think that kind of thing happens. It does happen, but you know, I think our writers are so brilliant, and the story is moving along in such a way that if that kind of thing happens, it'll all play out because the story will be so connective to what we've already done. So I don't think there's any worries with this at all. But I mean, it's a concern starting out for sure because you don't know where it's going. But I think they've got it all pretty mapped out.
Has it been exciting, man? Like, obviously, whenever you take on a new project, you hope it does well and it resonates. But, like, people are really responding to this. The fan theories are all over Twitter. People are going nuts. It's been amazing. What's it been like on your side to kind of watch this thing that you've been working on totally hit it with the crowd and totally resonate with people?
Yeah, well, you never know. You know, you can only do something that you like and you respond to, and you hope other people will too. I mean, the fact that this has taken off and people are really responding to it and responding to each one of these characters in different ways is so exciting and so gratifying, because ultimately you want people to see your work. You want people to see what you do. We do it for you. We tell stories for the audience, and the fact that they're joining in is like, we're beyond grateful.
I would be remiss not to point out that you said taking off, and that's a plain pun.
You like how I worked that in?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize.
When you left once, did you have like a strong idea coming out of that show, like what you wanted your next thing to be? Like, were you looking for a show that was maybe a little more grounded, but also had steeped in mystery? Like, were you looking for a thing like Manifest? Like, what were you looking for on the other side?
To be honest, I wasn't sure what I was looking for. I knew I wanted to take a year off and kind of reset and then come at it fresh and new. But I'm clearly attracted to stories that have very big, high concepts to them, but are grounded in some sort of real family drama, which this is exactly that. And by the time I read page 5 in the pilot, I knew that I wanted to be part of it. And Once was similar in that kind of way. You know, it was this big idea, but it had something very grounded underneath it. And I guess I'm just attracted to that kind of thing, and thank goodness other people are too.
I mean, people are very much, like I said, they love the show, but also people really love you and your character on this show. And I know for me, like, it was around like 4 or 5-ish, like when it became like he went from like episode 4 or 5 where he was like, I don't want to have anything to do with this, to like, my son's in danger. I'm all in because now I gotta protect my son. But like, people, man, I was looking at the comments on the last episode, and there, even for the internet, there were some aggressive responses towards Grace after you were.
Yeah, she's having a hard time from people.
She's having a hard time. Here's the question I'm trying to pose: is what do you think it is about Ben, or about what you're doing, that people aren't just connecting? They're like, they freaking love this character and they love your portrayal, man.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. But I think they see a man who's doing whatever he can to not only protect his family and protect his son, protect his wife, protect his daughter, protect his sister, but also try to figure out what happened to them on that plane. And it's what we all want to do. We all want to find out what happened on that plane, and I think we've seen that, and we've seen that from Ben, and we've seen his dogged determination to discover that answer and to do whatever he can, regardless of what it is, to protect his son. And, sometimes that doesn't work out so well. And, I think that's the beauty right now of Manifest, is that these people have found themselves in a situation where there is no blame. Yeah. There's no blame on anyone. There's no blame that Grace has moved on. There's no blame that Jared has moved on. 5.5 years is just enough time. So everybody's coming at it from their different points of view, and they have their different ideas of what life should be. And all of their lives have been interrupted twice now, right, in different ways. 5.5 years was just enough time to move on. So Grace and Olive, they started to rebuild their lives. They started, and then all of a sudden this thing comes in, and that's a very strange place to find yourself. And for Ben, for Michaela, for Cal, coming back to a world that looks very similar and very familiar is completely different. So everybody's on this very uneven path and not sure what the right thing to do is. Yeah. The thing about it is they all have a second chance, and it's about those decisions and what they try to do with those second chances is what's going to determine their fate. But at the same time, when they're trying to figure out how to rebuild their lives in this very messy, very complex way, they have all of these enemies, you could say, coming after them.
And give us a window, if you can, into, because when we left Ben last, there was a small victory, right?
Yeah, it was a rough day that day.
It was a rough day. You got to look for the silver lining. At least you found who you were looking for.
We found it. We saved.
You appeared to have severed the connection there.
Yeah.
Granted, you didn't have a home at the end of the night.
Got kicked out.
Got kicked out
immediately. Yeah.
So I imagine we pick up, not in the best position, but what are we looking forward to? What were you excited about coming into this second half, as we get ready for the second half of season 1 here?
Well, listen, with all of that happened in that fall finale, it was a pretty rough day. He was so concerned about his son and saving his son. Mm-hmm. He needed to find this group of missing passengers who were being tortured. That was connected to Cal. He needed to find them, save them. He did. It came at a steep price. Jared was gravely injured. His new friend and unlikely ally, Vance, was killed, lost his life. So now Ben doesn't have an insider inside the NSA anymore, and he was kicked out of his house. So tonight we pick up. It's several days after. He's now on the couch at Michaela's new apartment. He's miserable without his family. Grace, rightfully so, is very concerned that, Ben would put his son in that kind of position, their son in that kind of position, but he was only doing it to protect him. But anyway, he's miserable without them. So he can't physically be there to protect him, so he starts to dig deeper to find out who or what is responsible for this. And he now comes across an even more powerful, far, far more dangerous enemy to his family. So he's going to have to deal with that now. They're all going to have to deal with that now. So this is what we discover. So still not great.
Not great.
Still not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
Inherent to the process of making any show or movie is there's a lot of time in between takes. As you were saying, every character, they want to know what happened with that plane. You now want to know what happened with that plane. Are you guys sitting around shooting theories back and forth while you're waiting for them to call action? Are you talking about it? Are you as a cast, as a family, consumed by this mystery, or do some people know and they got to sit on it? What's that dynamic?
Yeah, well, nobody knows. None of us know. Not that I know of, unless somebody's keeping a very good secret. But none of us know, and we don't really sit around and talk about the theories of it because it really could be anything. Yeah. There's the conversation about faith versus science, and is it one or the other? Is it both? What are these callings? What do they mean? And I think as we go forward in the series, as we go into more of the episodes, you'll see the callings maybe used in different ways, maybe not always used for good.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
You put in, I think it was something, I looked it up, it was 134 episodes on Once Upon a Time. It was a lot.
Was it that many?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What did it feel like?
A lot.
What did it feel
A
like?
lot of hours on television.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been in your living rooms a long time.
That's why we're all
That's why
here
I'm
right
so
now.
gray already. I'm gray.
But I would have to imagine you take something with you from that project as you go to new projects and future projects. Even with this being a different world, a different universe, a different type of story, a different character. But is there something that you've brought with you, something that you knowingly did, or maybe you were surprised you're in the middle of a moment, you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm using that thing that I picked up back there, back on that show, or I'm using this thing, or this is just like that other time. Like, do you find yourself finding parallels and tools and skills that you've brought with you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you do that with every job that you do. You take on things with you onto the next job. You figure out techniques that you take onto a different job, and each job you approach differently. You know, you have a different kind of method, and it always requires something slightly different. But yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton that I learned on Once Upon a Time. I was on that for a long time. It was certainly the longest television series I'd ever done to that date. You know, that's a learning curve in itself. When you're doing 22 episodes of a television series, you're on set for 14 to 16 hours, and it takes a different kind of stamina. You learn stamina. You learn how to pace yourself. You learn how to follow a character arc and make sure that stays within a certain kind of realm and can also still be flexible enough to change. You learn a lot of different things. And and acting for the camera has a different kind of technique than when you're acting on stage, and there's different, just technical things that you learn, and you take things on with you.
You were fortunate to be in that position that few actors get, which is where you got to spend so much time with a character.
Right.
It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
And is there something through that experience you think that you couldn't have learned without being given that opportunity to spend all these years with this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so great about television for actors, and I think for the audience too. For me as an audience, I love to watch a character, and I'm able to watch a character for so long and watch their journey for so long. One of my favorite television shows of all time is Breaking Bad, and to watch those two characters, Walter and Jesse, to watch their evolution from the very beginning to the end is extraordinary, and you wouldn't get that in any other medium. You wouldn't get that in movies. You wouldn't get that in the theater. But you get to see this whole journey, and I think that's what's so exciting about doing TV.
Sure. One last thing, and then we're going to go to some audience questions. Cool. And, you look at a show like Lost, where the whole thing was built around this mystery, and the mystery continued for years and years until the finale. Yeah. And I feel like it had built to a point, there was no solution they could have provided us with that would have
satisfied anyone.
Nothing.
Right.
They could have said. You said they've got it mapped out. Have you heard any conversations of like, we've done this thing, people have really chewed into it, and they're really biting. Now we got to, here's another one, stick the landing. Like, has that been talked about? Like, obviously you hope it takes off, you hope people see it, but now people really like it. Yeah. So have you noticed a shift of anyone's language of just like, oh man, like we really got to pull this off now.
People are watching it now.
Yeah, people are really watching. It's a different beast now.
Yeah. I mean, that's not for me to say. That's for Jeff Rake to deal with it at night when he's alone in bed dreaming about whatever is going on. That's on his shoulders. So I mean, I know I'm along for the ride, and whatever he has in store for me, I'm willing to go with.
So awesome, man. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you did something great earlier today. You used your social media to reach your fans and say, "Hey, I'm going to be on this thing. Send us a question."
Yeah.
And we picked one. We got one over here.
Okay.
So this is from @Jared S. Vasquez. And
that's JR. Okay. Or maybe it's someone impersonating him.
Jared S. Vasquez.
No, that's his character name.
If you could have anyone guest star on Manifest, who would it be?
Oh, wow. I mean, there's so many people I would love. Let's have Bryan Cranston. Let's have Robert Carlyle. Let's have Jennifer Goodwin. Why not?
I believe you have an in. I think you can get it.
I think I can do some talking there. Yeah.
Thank you @Jared S. Vasquez.
Thank you.
Your avatar is very misleading.
Yes. Very misleading, but beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't saying anything derogatory.
Yes.
I was just trying to piece this together. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that was wonderful. We have, Kate, do we have questions? 4. That's awesome. We've got 4 questions in the room. First one's going to come from all the way back there. Hey.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. So this whole show is basically just kind of a mystery conspiracy thing, and I was wondering, what is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, that's a really good one. What is my favorite
What don't you believe in?
Well, you guys are all probably too young to do this, but I grew up, I was a teenager in the 90s, and I actually saw him on a flight, Sinbad, the comedian. In the 90s, he was in this movie, apparently was in this movie called Shazam, and he played the genie. It never happened. So it was a conspiracy theory that went around that there was some sort of time loop where we're all living in this alternate universe, and he never did it. But we all clearly remember the posters. He was in it. Never happened.
Do you see in that same? Thank you for that, by the way.
Although I saw him and I asked him, I said, the guy from Manifest is going to close this time loop. I asked him, I said, you got to tell me, were you ever in that movie? He said, no, but if you need to believe it, believe it.
What a nice response.
I said, that's exactly what I would say if I was trying to hide the truth.
Did you ever see the one, the Berenstein Bears, how they
Yes,
spell it?
it's
I
right.
remember it a certain way,
Yeah.
and then like you look at it, it's like, that's crazy.
It's completely, yeah.
Yeah,
completely.
so we're living in the Matrix. That's what's
yeah,
going on.
that's what it is.
Thank you so much for that. We've got 3 more. Next question looks like I think you. Go for it.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good, nice to see you. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
That is
I like
really
the
awesome.
mashing.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fur around my collar there.
Thanks. I have a question. What's the filming like differently in the city in Manifest compared to Canada filming Once Upon a Time set? The difference.
Thank you. I mean, New York Vancouver is a great place to film. It was perfect for Once Upon a Time and perfect for that world. New York is its own animal. It has great energy. It's exciting. I mean, we get to film in Times Square. We get to film in all these great, iconic kind of places. Yeah, I love it. They're different vibes for sure. And this is more of a Manifest vibe.
That's wild. The Times Square shoot. What time do you have to be there? When did you do it?
That was an early one. That was
Oh, yeah.
I was coming back from Comic-Con in San Diego that morning. I flew on a red-eye back, and I don't know, I started at like 4 a.m., I think. That was like my pickup time.
That's wild. Thank you. Great question. And we've got a few more. Next one's going to be right here. Go for it.
Hi. I'm a huge fan of Once Upon a Time since like day one.
Thank you.
So, and you and your wife worked so well together.
Thank you.
And I was just wondering if you could ever imagine yourself doing any projects with her again in the future.
If I'm lucky enough, I hope so. I'd love to do something with her. She's, the greatest scene partner. She's a brilliant actress, and I also kind of like her a lot. So, I would love to work with her again.
What do you think of the show, Manifest?
She loves it. She
Yeah.
watches every Monday. She's been sad that it hasn't been on, and she can't wait to watch tonight. She's a manifester.
She's a manifester.
Yeah.
Manifestors unite.
That's right.
Okay, I believe we have, what do we got, one more? We're going to do one more. Also right here in the front.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Michael David, another huge fan of Once Upon a Time. Such an amazing show. So,
Thank you.
what exactly was your favorite part about being a part of such a great show that connected with so many different people all across the world?
Just for that fact, it makes me very grateful to know that I was a little part of this show that seemed to have so much connection with people, and people are so passionate about, till this day, are still passionate about. And, that's a rare thing, to be part of something that connects so deeply with some people. And, I'm so grateful for that experience, and I will forever hold it dear to me. Thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you for that. We're going to do, great, bonus. We're going to do one more. I just got the signal. The final question, for real this time. I'm going to hold you to it, Kate. This is our last question, and it's coming from right over here on our green couch.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Listen, I love Manifest. I'm a huge, huge fan. I think the story is amazing.
Thank you.
So what I want to know is, you mentioned that it was at page 5 that you decided, okay, I'm in. What scene was that?
As soon as the plane came back and Vance said, you guys have been gone for 5.5 years. Immediately I was in. I was like, that was the hook for me. I thought that was the idea of that was so intriguing. The idea that, these people had come back to a world that, like I said before, was very familiar but completely different, but no time has passed for them. Time has moved on for their partners, but there's no sort of, there's no blame, there's no, it's all about the moral culpability of it, and there is no blame, and that's such a complex thing to play. And it was 5.5 years later. I hadn't aged, and I really liked that idea. So and Once Upon a Time, it was 21 years later. I hadn't aged, so I'm just going to stay with shows like that where I just never age.
That's what you look for in a role.
That's exactly. That's what it was. To be honest.
That's amazing. I'm glad we talked before the show. I'm glad you got your question in. That's perfect. Thank you for that, guys, for hustling and making that happen. And thank you all of you for being an amazing audience and having wonderful questions. We got to wrap it up.
Thank you.
But your instincts are correct.
Thank you.
So Manifest, it's back tonight. We're all going to watch it. We should have a viewing party. It'll be fun. But one more time, put your hands together, guys. I can't say it enough. Thank you to Mr. Josh Dallas. Do it up.
Thank you. Thanks, man. That was awesome.